So we'll go over this little thing you see here. So here's this too. We'll put this in the camera. So all this you see here, this isn't mine, but it's part of the story. All that you see here is the Dell basically kind of gaming laptop I just recently had. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna probably keep this for a while, but a person in my building was mentioning that they were looking, for a new laptop. I was like, this is like, he knows I, work on computers, and then I end up getting rid of them, because I moved so many of them. And he's like, Mom, look, I'd be interested in a laptop. I was like, well, this is a perfect time if you want one for a decent price. It's like, yeah, I got one. So he's like, yeah, I really like it. At first I thought, he wasn't going to show up, because he's like, oh, I'll be there later. Yeah, I hear that a million times from people in the building. He's like, oh, I'll be there. I definitely want it. I didn't think he was going to show up. Then later on that night, he actually showed up. And he was like, wanting it, but then he's like, that's when I did the upgrades to it. So it's like, in the video, you'll always see that that laptop was sold before I finished upgrading. So it's like, from that laptop, I sold it for a really good price, and then he actually had me upgrade it for him. He already had another computer that was bad, which I'm gonna kind of look at, but the screen's broke, casing's all broke. I checked it out already. I didn't see any shorts in it, but I don't know why it would come on. But so I gotta keep, the 500 gig. Even that this stuff that he gave me was his, right? He still let me keep. He said you could just keep, basically for me trading the other stuff out. I gotta keep the 512 gig NVMe SSD that originally was in it. And then I gotta keep the two 8 gig sticks. This is DDR4. Two 8 gig sticks of RAM. So I got 16 gigs of RAM I gotta keep. And the 500 gig SSD. And then he basically let me have this laptop. It's old. I'm gonna do a separate video of this, but we'll see it in this part since it's basically part of the trade. This here isn't mine either. He just let me check it out, play with it. He got this from, he watches some people on TikTok, and this is off the TikTok shop or whatever they have on TikTok, right? So they actually gave him a refund because this was advertised that you could seek, that he could sync his phone to this, so he can just, like my phone, I can, just send that to my TV. Basically, that's how this device was supposed to be. It's a projector. It's small. It powers up here. On and off switch, HDMI, VGA. If you want to see a video of this, I probably won't have this anymore. The time I put the video up, maybe I'll do a video after this, but I tested it. It looks halfway decent, but you need obviously a white canvas on your wall, or your wall to be white and be perfectly flat, and it needs to be dark, really dark, to get a good image out of this. And it will show pretty good. It's probably maybe, I think 70 some inches. It's like having a 70-inch TV or something. Maybe you could get 100 out of it, but focus wise it was terrible. I say, yeah, the best I got was probably between a 50-inch TV and a 75-inch TV. But plus I did test the HDMI first, and then I put one of my cards in with the movies. So they let me test this, so that's pretty good. I got something to play around with, right? And then this is another drive. It's a 1 terabyte drive. It's from his original computer that was completely destroyed, right? But this is a 1 terabyte drive. It's Western Digital Kevlar Blue. It says it's made August 27, 2022, so it's a newer drive. This drive is 700 some gigs on this drive alone. This is what he wanted me to move the stuff off of here. yeah, he wanted me to move the stuff off of here, and then he had some stuff on here too, because in that laptop he had, this was a boot drive and this was a secondary one. I never seen a Dell use one of these, so I'm assuming when he bought it, this was probably the boot device for it, and then he added this to it. He thought this was an NVMe. I was like, no, this is just a regular M.2 SATA drive, so it's no faster than a regular SATA SSD. This is a regular hard drive, obviously no faster than, well, it's going to be faster than this one, but like a newer SSD like this, you know, this is just as fast. It's not an NVMe. So I moved data from this and this over to this. This is an external enclosure, so you undo this screw. Now, it's missing a screw inside. I didn't have none of the hardware for it. He had this already. The drive was somewhat in it. I did replace a screw. The one he had in here was really oversized for it. So then you can see here he does have a Crucial, just like the one I put in that laptop. So he has a 2 terabyte Crucial drive here, and this, I don't know what the speeds are on it. I did not test that. So you just put this back together. That's how easy it's put together. But the shop he took his laptop to told him at least he can use his drives in this, and they sold him this for a lot of money, I guess, because these are only like $13, and he didn't get the screws with it. He didn't get the screw here, and the standoff that goes from the M.2 to be screwed down, he didn't get that either. I think he said he didn't even get the cord, so he got this and was overpriced, charged for it. But like I said, I moved the data from here over to this because he wanted the stuff, I guess. So then he you know, for doing that, I kept this drive here, and basically the laptop too, out of the changing data over, and he's still gonna pay me a little bit more money too. I'm perfectly fine with the trade. A hard drive I could use, you know, obviously having a terabyte, you know, almost full, I'll have to wipe that, and then I get another drive here, and then this is another weird thing he let me have too. Let's see if I can open this. It was kind of tricky to get it open to begin with. Okay. So at first he was telling me about this drive here, that it was supposed to, it was the same thing as this one here, but then he ended up telling me it's one of these, after I showed him and opened it, what was inside here, he's like, then he kind of told me, you know, the real, what he knew about it. So he thought this was one of these, and he's like, well, there's not, as like, could you, you know, like, maybe you could use this for a drive or something. And then he's like, then he finally, he's like, oh, it's one of these cheap drives you could get. First computer I hooked it up to, it said it had 15 terabytes. I was like, okay, that's weird, but I couldn't format or do anything like that. And I hooked it to this with the original operating system. Obviously, this laptop's getting reset. Then I did something. What I do? I think I just changed the ports, because this USB here, and then I checked it out, replugged it back in, and then it was showing up as just a 2 terabyte drive. But this. So this connector here is glued on, and it has little ridges here that don't let this push back through this. So this being glued on stops this from sliding out. And I pulled this out, and the first thing I noticed, oh, wrong side. First thing I noticed, that, you know, like right here, it had nothing right here. I pulled it out some more, and I was like, yeah, you know, yeah, this, I knew, you know, I knew it already was a fake drive, but I didn't know what was in it. I thought, you know, what could it be? I thought maybe it's a SD, you know, like a thumb drive in here, something like that, you know, like something like this in it. But nope, it just has an SD card in it. And I had to cut some of this, looks like hot glue out, and it looked like spider webs in here. So much, you know, hot glue strands were still in here. That's it. That's the drive. And I showed him, and I was like, well, it's a fake drive. he's like, well, what could you use it for? I said, well, you could get there is ways to delete this and fix it where it's showing the right amount, and it's the right amount, but it's probably a 2 gig or maybe an 8 gig. I seen some with 2 gig SD cards in, some with 8, some with 16. I think the best I ever seen was like a 32 gig. No, I take that back. I seen one that had like a 64 gig one in it, but that was like, it said it was like a, I think an 8 is supposed to be an 8 terabyte drive. Now this one's supposed to be a 2 terabyte. Said the worst you could do, there's really nothing on it except everything's on the SD card. You could use it as a, like an SD card. Put a different SD card in it. Can use this for reading SD cards if you have them. Do Type C. I don't know how good the Type C really is. If it's just USB really. I didn't check the thing out too much. Yeah, that's another thing he let me have because he doesn't need it anymore and it's useless. Like, I put another thumb drive in and it showed the right data. Another thing with this thing is, like, I reformatted it, and I finally got it to reformat, and I opened it and it still had a folder in it. I was like, okay, why is there a folder in here? I deleted that folder, closed it, rehooked it up, and that folder wasn't showing back. It wasn't on there, so I formatted it and the folder showed back up. I don't know what was the folder in it. Check it out. Like I said, I did it from this old laptop here, which is getting re-wiped, and this has right now has some kind of AMD CPU in it. I'll talk about that more in the video. But yeah, so from all that gaming laptop, that basically me trading a higher end gaming computer got me that laptop and another gaming computer, a lower end gaming computer, and then sold the laptop, and then I got to keep to basically the RAM and the SSDs in it, and got another SSD and another hard drive, and then like a useless device here. Yeah, that'd been cool if this was actually like something like this, or something better than an basically an SD card reader. That's huge. Like, I have SD card readers. I don't need it. It's like somewhere. Guess it's not in there. Like, that doesn't have one. Where is it? Oh, like, I have a small old style one anyway, so I have this. If I need to read cards, I have that. But then he also gave me this watch here, which is another one of these TikTok purchasers. I'm assuming they're probably, he's checking out girlies or whatever, and he's buying stuff to like show his, I don't know, maybe they're dudes too. I don't know. It seems weird. He's got like 4 of these watches, different colors, showing pink, but this one's gray. It's brand new, and he just gave me this, and I was like, these are mostly bad. He's like, well, they're just couples generations underneath the latest thing. I was like, no, these are like way underneath it. They might have, maybe if you got a good one, it might have some good hardware in it, but that hardware's still way old. It's like not 2 generations older. You're gonna buy something like, you're not gonna buy one of these smartwatches that are like only 2 generations old for $9, right? And it comes with a cheap little charger. I turned it on. I didn't really mess with it. Obviously, it comes with like the the clock. That'd be the only reason I use it for is a watch. But I'd rather have a digital instead of like the little clock, like a regular analog clock, like something like this. I'd rather have, my Fitbit here, and it, that has digital. It tells me the time. Like right now, you can see it's 1:01. Like, I'd rather have that than something like this. Yeah, I could tell the time off of that, but I still rather have the old way. And then, it has watch bands that are, perfectly straight. If he wore it a little bit, it kind of get that oddness to it. But I just it's probably a long video going over this because it's a lot of stuff. But this is all the stuff that came, out of he also is let me check out his Oculus Rift, but the thing is, he doesn't have the high-end cord for it from Type C to Type C on a computer, because I have, you know, the what is it, Alex? Yeah, I have Alex, you know, the Half-Life remake thing, this VR. I want to try it, but he didn't have that cable. Plus, I haven't set it up yet to actually get it to work at all. But yeah, this is overview. I'll say this at the end. I got this to play around with and test. I don't think he was ever using this. Like I said, when I use it, it has to be perfectly dark to get a good image. And then I got to keep the hardware from the laptop, 2 8 gig sticks and one 512 gig NVMe SSD, M.2 SATA SSD that's also 512, a 1 terabyte hard drive for a laptop, which is perfect because I got a laptop coming that I don't know if it takes an M.2 or not. So this RAM here will allow me to, because the computer like I bought might be the first one off of shopgoodwill.com that didn't work out because I didn't read the description on this. So on that laptop it says no memory, no RAM, no storage, no battery, no adapter. So this will at least give me RAM and storage from either here, here, or here to test the unit. Obviously I have this too. I use this as a test one too, plus 120 gig one I also have. So at least I'll have RAM to check it. That other laptop I have coming in, they haven't even shipped it. It's been like 7 days. So like I said, some sellers can get it to you in like 3 days from the day you buy it, and some sellers 7 days later haven't even had the printing label shipped. So once I get that, I can use this RAM to test it, so I don't have to get more RAM. Like only test RAM I have right now is an 8 gig, so I don't really need this. I have an extra 8 gig. So, but yeah, this is overall. I got all this stuff from selling the laptop and then just moving data over. I think that's pretty decent. All I did was, you know, it wasn't a data recovery thing. So it would just like click his music off of this drive and his pictures and then pull them over to here. Same thing here. Click on the file that has his music and his pictures on it and his videos or whatever from both of these true drives. Click them over and move them over here. In my system, I had this in an M.2 slot, and I had this hooked up to an SSD, to the SSD slot, and I had this hooked in external through Type C to Type C because the computer I do my backup, my recovery on it when I do recovery drives has a Type C plug on it, and I run off of a drive that's read only. It has no writes to it. So then I just moved his stuff from here over to here. That was simple. So for doing that little bit of work, yeah, it took time because in total between this and this was just shy of 1 terabyte of space. But yeah, I think that's even a good trade. This, and this, and basically the laptop. And I get to play around with the Oculus Rift again for a couple days, or a month, or whenever he wants it back, and then I get to test this little device out. So I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna, call this at this. Once this posted up, what do you think? Was it a good trade for me? Just even just these 2 drives and the laptop. The laptop he kind of gave me for free already from doing the upgrade to here. So kind of I got this drive and this. Was that a good deal for me? Because I got at least 1 terabyte drive that checks out to be good, and an M.2 SATA SSD, and this smartwatch which I won't reuse. Was that, should I went ahead and charged it more? It's not data recovery, but I got. Okay, so this is a laptop from like a previous video. This is the one I got basically for free, but I had to do move over some data to this drive here, which I still have. I messaged him, he still hasn't picked it up. Lead it to my phone to do a message. That normally doesn't do when I say that every time, but it doesn't ever do. So this is an HP, you can see here, it's an HP. He did buy this from the pawn shop 4 years ago. He said he didn't give this it says $160, but he says he didn't give $160 for it. But they had it. Their sticker says 6/23 2020. So let's see what this is. So this is a Pavilion G7. So it has, it has a webcam. Has a webcam at the top here. It has a full-size keyboard. Power buttons here. Trackpad buttons here. And then you look on the sides. Okay, so on this side, we do have a USB port. This is power jack, Kensington lock, DVD-ROM. This thing is annoying because you go to push it and the fastest way to get this out if the computer's on is to say eject and it just pops out, but this doesn't like to respond. And it also has a power light and an LED light right here on the side instead of like on the top where you can see it really easy. In the front, there is nothing in the front. Then off to the side, we have a card reader, microphone. Well, that's a headphone jack, microphone jack, and then USB cables. I don't know if these are both SATA 3.0. We do have the SS in the middle. Stands like they're super fast, I guess. So these, one of these, maybe both of them, it's in the middle. So maybe both of these are 3.0. Ethernet. We got an HDMI out and a VGA out. I showed the back has nothing. Then on the battery we have a replaceable battery here. You remove this cover here. Just one screw, which is kind of nice, Then you slide this down like that, and that comes out. So that will expose your Wi-Fi card, your RAM, and your hard drive. It's like a 640 gig hard drive. I think it's a Toshiba. It seems to be original. So it has one stick of RAM in it. Just put this cover back on. That's pretty nice that the cover comes off like that. And then that goes in. That's a capture screw there, so it's on a little spring too. Originally, it says it has Windows 8. In my opinion, I don't know if it's just because it's overheating or what, but this thing was struggling to play. And this is an odd size screen too. So right now it has Windows 10 on it. It has an odd size screen size. It's like 1600 by 900, so it's not 1080p or 720p. It's an odd size, but YouTube playback on this thing, it was struggling with 720p. I kicked it down to 480p and it was still having a trouble. It was like almost no real difference. The CPU was at 100%. Just has a 2-core. It says an A6 AMD. So I even tried, stick another, because I only have 2 gigs available. I have two 4 gigs coming, so 8 gigs for that other HP all-in-one. Once I get it, I'll probably recheck it in here again. But I put this in it to make it have dual channel. So the first 4 gigs should be increasing it. Even that didn't seem like it made a difference. Haven't rechecked it since I just redid the OS. Plug this in. Alright, plug this in. It's plugged in. Hit the power button. At least it does work. And I did reset it. No backlight keyboard, and you'll see, it is kind of slow. So just setting here, setting some more. I haven't even checked the webcam to see if that works or how good it is or bad it is. So we have a cursor still. When I do this, I'd edit it, but I want you to see how long it actually takes to start up. Right? as you can see here. Still hasn't hit Windows. And you know, Windows 10 has it where it doesn't kind of shut down, and it leaves stuff where it kind of kicks in and starts faster. Maybe that feature doesn't work since this is so old, but Wi-Fi works. I thought maybe at first Wi-Fi was a problem why YouTube wasn't playing, so I hooked it directly to Ethernet, and it was the same. Right? So here we go. We're in Windows, but we're not in Windows. We got nothing but the Windows icon here and the search icon. We have nothing else on the board. It should have, I put Chrome on here, and this is a fresh install with all the drivers. I went to AMD, got the latest driver for the APU basic, because it's a CPU and GPU on the die, right? So I downloaded them drivers. It's got the newest ones for this system, which still legacy drivers, I believe. So now you can see the icons are at the bottom, and then you can kind of see, because this always washes out on my camera so bad. Where's like, here's a cursor. We'll open Task Manager. Okay, so see, the system's been running for a while. I click Set Task Manager. You see how long this is taking to actually kick in and run. But you can see here, you know, we're at 100% CPU usage right now, like 50, and then it jumped down to 50 because all this, you know, like there's nothing except drivers on here. And then you can see, hopefully you can see, we have an AMD. So we have an AMD A6 4400, yeah, 4400 M APU with Radeon HD graphics. So we're gonna say it's, I can't stand it out like this. Not that both hands. So you just try to get this thing to stand out. Yeah, it just says HD graphics. So it says, you know, and then the graphics doesn't even show up on here, but we have 4 gigs of memory on it. It's showing up as a 596 gig hard drive, but it's a, you know, obviously a 640. We'll open text device manager. Like I said, see, look, I click device manager. It's still taking a while. Even the hard drive is pegged at 100% now, and the CPU's lower. So right now, the hard drive is what's slowing it down. But yeah, but when I played YouTube, the CPU was at 100%. I was like, oh, we could use this for YouTube or something. I can get rid of this. I don't even know what this is worth, because of the fact that with Windows 10 on it, with another weird thing too I found is this thing is, it's been activated with Home. So Windows 10 Home is activated on this machine, and Windows 10 Pro is activated. So someone, either this came with the Home version of Windows 8 or a Pro version, but someone upgraded it or downgraded it at one time. Then we got an unknown device, which wasn't showing up earlier when I did the updates. And then we'll click on the video. So the graphics in here is an AMD Radeon HD 7520G. So what do you think? This would be a good candidate for me to throw Linux Mint on, or dual boot it? I think maybe this would be the first system I actually try to resell with Linux Mint or something else on it. I always say in my videos, the time I put this up, like right now I have like 9 videos that need to go up, so this would be the 10th or whatever in the line that this is in. So the time it goes up, I would probably made up my mind if I'm gonna, if I do Linux Mint, it would already be on there and it'd probably be gone. But what do you think? Will Linux Mint help the system out, have this thing running smoother so it can actually play, you know, at least 720p videos, even that it has a 900p screen? Like, we'll even check that out for you. Like, so it is a 17-inch laptop. It is heavy. Display settings. So it is a, like I said, it's a 16. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a 1600 by 900 resolution for the screen. At least it says recommended. Let's see if we can do anything else. Yeah, that's the highest resolution you can go. But right now it has Windows 10 Pro on it. I do got to figure out what that unknown device is, but like I said, when I updated it didn't say that. And this has all Windows updates, maybe. And I just did it yesterday, but Windows could be pushing another update. You see what is actually pushing the CPU right now. So, only thing I put on there is Chrome. So, you know, just sitting here, we're still using, you know, 97% CPU uses, and the hard drive's not pegging out, so the CPU's still holding it back. So, what do you think this thing's worth? I'm gonna make this too long. You know, I'll do a second part. You know, I'm surprised the fan hasn't ramped up, because normally it would ramp up. You know, super loud. I ran R15 on here, and it got a 99 for a score, but that fan was like, I'm talking about, like, it sounded like a hair dryer. You know, maybe I'll do that and add this to the video, but I'm not gonna do that right now. So yeah, I'll stop the recording now, and I'll run the benchmark to where it's almost done, so you can hear how loud this thing actually gets, and then you'll see the score. I ran it twice and it still got 99, but then, you know, and then I'll do a little small part after that. I'll pull this apart, clean it up. Maybe that will help it, cleaning it if it's that bad off, that maybe just holding itself back because it's getting too hot. But yeah, what do you think? You know, I got this pretty much for free. It's a huge laptop. It's heavy. I don't even know what the battery life is. It says it charged. It was low when I got it. It says it's at 100% now. But yeah, he got this 4 years ago. I don't think he replaced the battery, so it's not gonna do that good. And everything you're gonna do on this is gonna cause the CPU to run at 100%. You know, leave in the comments below, will Linux help this machine or not? I'll probably post this right away. I'll probably just skip right ahead of the other videos and post this directly, like today or maybe tomorrow. Okay, this is gonna be like a separate part of this video, but I started ripping into this. On the other video you seen, I say show, you know, the final results after cleaning, but I figured, I just show, you know, I just do the video of doing it, but then my white balance was way off and it was in the dark, so I already started. So, let's see if you can, oh, here's the screw I lost. So all the screws seem to be the exact the same. They are. Screwdriver trying to escape. So you have to undo all these little screws here. Your white balance is still off. I don't know why it's not wanting to correct. But you take all these screws out here, some in here, you know, all over the place. They're all the same type of screw. You know, I pull the screw right here, takes the DVD-ROM out, and then you gotta flip this out. The center one here's for keyboard, and you gotta flip this out. And as mentioned, and I hate the laptops that have where you take it apart and the motherboard, you know, the cover comes off, and then you're dealing with the motherboard that's underneath, so you have to remove the motherboard from underneath it. So them are like my least like to work on. But then you got to come up here and unscrew, you know, screw here, one here, one here, and then undo these cables here. This is probably going to be one of the annoying one, the feedback through that slot right there. And then this all oh, that's going to be pretty easy. You don't have to slide it through there. So there's a keyboard. Here is a, you know, the system done. I don't have anything to set on this, right? Right. Maybe this power brake will give it that extra weight to stop leaning. So you just check this piece out. Doesn't look too bad. There's a little dust around here where the fan is. What in the world? So this is a speaker right here. Here's the other one that's in a weird shape. But everything else pretty much looks pretty decent. And this thing, I don't know if the camera's picking up, but this is like has a heavy flake to it. Like it's a, I don't know what you would call this. It's not a gunmetal. Maybe it is a gunmetal. It's a dark gray, but has a lot of flake in it. That's basically little particles. They're all different colors, and then they hit the light. You can see them. It gives it a shine. So it has that on the cover and that piece there. So yeah, this is one of these annoying ones that you gotta undo all this stuff to get just to where you're going. Undo this because the cable's underneath it. The cable wraps up over here, so you just bear in mind. You like that? So this can stay in here, and then it unhooks from right here. This needs to be unhooked. So this cable here goes to power and the USB port right here. And obviously we got our Wi-Fi coming in. This is where the, where basically like if you had an HDMI or something like that, this is where the monitor hooks in. Move that out of the way. The fan actually doesn't look that bad, really. So maybe it's just a thermal paste. I don't know what that screw is for. Just yank a screw out of there. Yeah, why is that even in there? There's no screw hole for that. I just left the screw in it. Nothing's broke, it's all metal. So there's that. Yeah, I don't see any screws holding this motherboard in. Obviously something's still holding it. RAM. And we do actually have one screw right here. And it is the exact same kind. So this laptop takes the same screws. The only one that took a different screw was the Wi-Fi. It's going to be a little tricky to get out. Is anything else hooked in? Yeah, there's something else hooked in at the bottom. What else is attached over here? I guess the power jack is actually different. Yeah. Just flip this around. There's another cable right here. That's like tied in here, and it's making it impossible to get undone. Okay, there it goes. Guess we can set this off to the side. Take this out of here. So that's not bad at all to take apart. What do you think? Was that bad? Now the laptop's apart. And let's check this out. Okay. Is that just one? What the fuck? So I'm guessing the fan is part of the heatsink. So we got one heat pipe. Here's where the Wi-Fi was in. How's everything looking here? Here's the, the CMOS battery. Yeah, everything looks good in it. Yeah. So you see your ports. These just take this cooler off here since I unhooked the fan already. And it does have marks on here. So it says 1, 2, 3, 4. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. So like older systems, they actually have it in a socket and not just in there, just solder directly onto the board. So with this, the system does have an upgrade path. It does look like maybe you could have had an AMD, extra chip on here for graphics, because here's where the memory would go right here, and the die right there. I have in the past, probably a long time ago, did that on there. Like I bought a bad motherboard, but it was faulty in other reasons besides the graphics part. Did they tape that on or what? Yeah, kind of just stuck on there. But here's our thermal paste. Don't even have my normal thermal paste that I use in these. I use like a G90 something. It's a cheap thermal paste that you can buy a lot. So like the price I paid for this, you can buy 30 grams. And it seems to do a decent job. All the systems, you know, come back for like cleaning and stuff after years are still within the same, you know, some of them are actually getting better temperatures, even with the same ambient. Like it needs to have a set in, and then it does a better job. But this stuff isn't too bad, you know. Seems to work good. Obviously, I don't have a way to test it every time, and every time you'll have a different result, even if with this, just because of mounting pressure. You know, if I put this on different each time, unless I do it identical, it's gonna have, you know, kind of show a different result. The temperature will make a difference, you know. So all that will make a difference. So you have to have I guess a controlled environment, you know, to do true test on it. But it seems to do decent to me, you know. It isn't terrible, probably isn't the best, but definitely isn't the worst. So there's that. So there's a new paste on there. Hopefully, I don't think that's going to help performance. I'm not even going to worry about the fan, nothing. So can I actually, like, so this was hooked in to the top. I think I could get that other cable through the bottom. Double check that now though to make sure. Yeah, I can get to that. That's the hard drive cable and it's right there. It's like super easy to get to, so I can hook that in last. Just put that back, put this little adapter on here. Grab this one screw that was holding the motherboard on. I don't think anything else I needed to hook in. Everything else is pretty accessible. So hooking back in the power jack, which I thought was all on this ribbon cable, but nope, I missed that somehow. Feels like it's in. Hook the monitor, the screen back up. These up. Okay, everything seems to be good. And then we'll hook this. This is for the DVD ROM. That was to hook the cover back on. And this I can hook up from the bottom. Double check, make sure everything seems to be good. Everything on the floor. We slide this back down. Get this up here. So it seems like everything's gonna kind of line up pretty decently. Alright? Everything should go back into place easy. Like I said, nice and easy on that. Snap this all back into place. I said snap this all back into place. As for the keyboard, we got a speaker right here. I think it's a speaker. Plug that back in. Now we'll go through here and put all the screws in that were on this side. So now if you have one of these, you can know that it's not one of the easiest ones to pull apart. I was hoping the bottom would just come off and we could get to the cooler and all that stuff. But no, you have to pull the motherboard out too. That's okay, we did it. You know, got it done. So, you know, see if it makes a difference. At least with temperature. You know, have a new thermal paste on there and then have the vent cleaned up. You know, I didn't do the best of jobs cleaning that, but yeah, like I said, this laptop, you know, struggles. Like it really, you know, like you could do, you know, basic stuff on it, but at least I want a system that I can, you know, resell this, you know, a resell that can at least watch, you know, natively, whatever native is on the screen. It needs to be able to play that smoothly. I thought first maybe it's the Wi-Fi. I hooked through Ethernet, so I got the cable set in here. Ethernet still did the same thing. You know, it didn't even help at all. Like even if I lowered it. Okay, so even if I kicked it down to 480p, it was still like not doing good. Like it's like, okay, something else. It seems like something else is limited. But the CPU was pegged at 100%. You know, maybe the graphics just don't have the, you know, codecs or whatever for it, or whatever you want to call it. You know, it doesn't have the capability. And here is our keyboard. And also it's just, yeah, the CPU was just pegged at 100%. It's like, okay. Oh, why this is not... Oh, they put Captain tape on there, so it keeps it wanting to flip down. Man, I always hated putting these in. Like, they're just getting them lined up just right. And the fact that I got one hand, because I gotta hold this up, because they put the tape on there. I don't know if the tape's on there because it's broke or what. Man, this tape is coming off here. So annoying. Trying to keep this open and it's wanting to fight and keep it closed. There, right. Probably still use one hand, but yeah. See, now I got the tape off. I was able to do it. Well, no, I didn't. There we go. That looks good. Hopefully I didn't tear nothing apart fixing this. You know, never know. Might not work now. Just put this Wi-Fi in. Yeah, these are so fragile. Taking these off here, you can pull the whole thing off of it like so easy. You wouldn't think so, but yeah, it will come off super easy. Then you got to replace one. And then on top of it, the little piece is stuck inside here. That's even harder to get out than you would, you know, imagine it would be. So yeah, the system got a 90 with just one stick of RAM in it, 4 gigs, and then it still just got, well, it got the 99. I keep saying 90, it got 99, and I put the other RAM in it, it still just got a 99. And like I say, in this cable, it hooks in. Looks like it's keyed, so it hooks in this way. And that's the cable that's giving me the problems earlier. Like, I couldn't figure out how to get the leads out of it. I just start screwing all these screws back in here. Where is the DVD-ROM, so I don't forget to put that back in. So it does have a DVD-ROM. You see the date code on here. So the DVD-ROM, it says it's a Supra DVD rewritable. and the model number is a GT50N. When is manufacturer's date? June 20th. June 2012. So 2012. This drive was made in 2012. So let's, what is this? Okay, so we are back. I just skipped ahead on putting all the screws in. I didn't think you want to see the screws being put in, but you missed the screws being taken out. So I'll kind of explain. So there's one here, 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 and the keyboard one's here. Hopefully I didn't mess the keyboard up putting it back together, because it actually has, no, the keyboard isn't right here. The keyboard's right here, but it has an indicator right here for a keyboard, one right here. So I put one right here. So hopefully I didn't ruin the keyboard, because it is marked as keyboard right here and right here. So hopefully I didn't mess the keyboard up. If I did, this laptop's through. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna spend more money on replacing a keyboard, because the keyboard's probably worth more than the freaking laptop itself. Like I said, probably repeat it a lot of times. This thing was struggling on YouTube at 1080p, and this is like a 1900p screen. So yeah, I want the system to at least play at native resolution if they want to watch YouTube videos or anything live streaming, right? So then one screws here, here, here. This just has clips underneath here. The DVD-ROM has to be unhooked, which is here. Another screw here, and then you got 3 screws right here. And to get the motherboard out, you have to take the Wi-Fi, unhook the Wi-Fi with that one screw. But otherwise, that's pretty simple. And then once you turn it over, the keyboard pops out. There's like 3 screws underneath that to remove the screen, and then that takes, like you've seen all that. So that's where I left off, basically where I started off. And then this drive just slides in here, and then drops in. And then this just hooks in right here. And then when you put the cover on, that holds this from raising up, so then it can't fall back out. So all the screws are in. There's no extra ones here. Like I mentioned in here, he bought this, and they had it, their sticker. They have 2 stickers on here. One indicates 6/23/2020. These stickers sometimes will come up pretty easy. See what the, I don't know why I want to keep it on there, but for some reason I want to keep it on there. When I go to sell it, I won't leave that sticker on there. So I don't know, it looks like 140. Yeah, they originally marked it at 140. They originally marked this system at 140. So then they probably, whoever bought it, well, whoever pawned it in, probably picked it back up, and then repawned it back in, and then the second time they gave them more money. So in 2020, 4 years ago, they thought this laptop was worth $160 4 years ago. And it probably, it doesn't tell you anything about it. It just says a G7, and then it says a 2270. Doesn't tell you the specs or not like that. Yeah, you pop the battery in and actually see if everything still works and turns on. So I'll stand up for this, because we'll plug this in now. I'm probably in the camera, and hopefully everything still works. It works like it should. So it still is. It's still slow, starting up real slow, but the fan hasn't ramped up, and I actually feel a lot more air coming through. I can actually feel the air coming through now. Before, I didn't feel that much air until the fan ramped up. So that might be good. So you can see the system's back up and running. So that's going to be, the teardown, kind of. And at least you get to see me pulling the motherboard out and put new thermal paste in and then forgetting to put the fan in. But I'll put them two parts together and then I'll add another, I'm gonna record again, and that's gonna go, you're gonna see the results of it being cleaned and put new thermal paste on the other part of the video where I show how this thing was running. Hopefully we get a better score than 99, or at least we get the same score but the fan doesn't kick in. I don't know if you heard that in the video. I haven't reviewed the video yet, but yeah, that's the end of this, showing that I just pulled it apart and changed the thermal paste in it. Wasn't an easy job just to do thermal paste. You've seen the CPU as a socket, but not very much of an upgrade room. So thank you for watching this part of the video about this HP Pavilion G70. And you made it all the way through both little sections. What do you think? What Linux would be best on this? By then I'd probably have the laptop gone, or I would have had it figured out already. Probably in the part somewhere in the videos of the other video, about the performance of it. I probably will have Linux already on it. But yeah, thank you for watching.